Here's how Machiavelli would manipulate everyone today. His 13 rules of power. Power has never disappeared. It only changed its clothes. Today it wears smiles, algorithms, and brand deals instead of crowns and swords. But behind the glowing screens and gentle words, the same brutal truth remains. People still dominate, manipulate, and control each other, only more subtly. If Niccolo Machiavelli were alive today, he wouldn't sit on a throne. He would sit behind a laptop. He'd run corporations, media empires, or entire governments through the illusion of transparency. And his 13 rules of power would still shape every modern battlefield, from boardrooms to dating apps, from influencers to presidents. Before we begin, remember this: Machiavelli never taught cruelty for its own sake. He studied human nature, the raw, inconvenient truth that people are guided by fear, envy, and self-interest more than by reason or virtue. He didn't invent manipulation. He revealed it. He unmasked the polite theater of society and showed that behind every smile, a strategy lives. And in our modern age of niceness, where everyone wants to appear kind, tolerant, and empathetic, his wisdom is even more dangerous and more necessary. So, if you're ready to stop being controlled by invisible strings and start understanding the architecture of manipulation, stay till the end of this video. Because once you see these 13 rules, you'll never look at people the same way again. Subtle pause. Before we dive deep, take a moment. Hit that subscribe button. Because here, on Light of the Spirit, we don't just chase motivation. We study the secret psychology of influence, the power that hides beneath human behavior. Now, let's begin. If Machiavelli lived today, he would start not with armies or castles, but with perception. Because perception is the new battlefield. In a world of information overload, the one who controls attention controls reality. He would say, don't fight for truth, fight for narrative. And that's his first rule. Rule 1. Control how others see you, not who you truly are. Modern manipulation isn't about lies. It's about framing. It's about creating a version of yourself that triggers admiration or fear, whichever emotion you can use. Every post, every silence, every expression becomes a tool. You don't tell people who you are. You let them guess. And you make sure their guess serves your ambition. Scroll through social media. You'll notice people don't show their lives. They curate their myth. That's not vanity. It's strategy. Because as Machiavelli wrote, men judge more by the eye than by the hand. Today this means they trust the image, not the essence. And once you understand that, you stop playing by moral appearances. You begin to design them. Rule 2. Appear predictable, but think like chaos. Manipulators never reveal their rhythm. They smile the same way, speak softly, act consistent, until one decisive moment where they break pattern and strike. That's when the world realizes they were never what they seemed. Power today is timing. Every action should look spontaneous but be rehearsed. Every reaction should seem emotional but be engineered. The best manipulators don't act. They direct reactions. They don't need to fight. They let others destroy themselves trying to read them. Look at the most powerful leaders and CEOs. They master this psychological art. Calculated unpredictability. A sudden decision, a mysterious silence, a smile that hides 10 layers of intention. Machiavelli would say, keep them guessing and you keep them beneath you. Because confusion breeds dependence. Rule 3. Don't seek to be loved. Seek to be necessary. The modern world worships charisma. People want to be adored, validated, followed. But love is fragile. It changes with opinions. Necessity, on the other hand, is survival. Make others believe they need you. Your approval, your information, your network, your presence, and you can vanish for a while. Yet still hold them by invisible strings. Machiavelli would say that the new tyrants don't rule by fear of death, but by fear of irrelevance. The influencer, the brand, the lover, all fight not for love, but for necessity. They don't ask, do you like me? They whisper, you can't do this without me. That's power. Here's where the first paradox of manipulation reveals itself. The more people think you care, the easier it is to control them, because care is the perfect disguise for strategy. And manipulation, in its purest form, isn't about deceit. It's about direction. Guiding others' emotions so gently that they never notice you're the one holding the steering wheel. But be careful. You can't fake strategy with arrogance. Machiavelli's brilliance lies in subtlety. He believed real manipulation is invisible, like gravity. You don't see it, but it shapes every motion. And that's why most people fail at power. They try to dominate loudly instead of silently. They try to impress instead of intrigue. They try to argue instead of position. And in doing so, they reveal themselves. Machiavelli's modern disciple would never shout. He would whisper. He would study people's desires, fears, and weaknesses, not to destroy them, but to understand the hidden language of control. If this resonates with you, if you're tired of being naive in a world that rewards manipulation, take a second and give this video a like. Because what you're learning right now isn't cynicism, it's clarity. And clarity is power, the kind of power that protects you from being used and helps you shape destiny on your own terms. Rule 4. Master silence as a weapon. Machiavelli knew that speech reveals, but silence multiplies fear. Today, in the age of constant talking, silence is dominance. When you withhold your reaction, people project their insecurities into your silence. They overthink, they assume, they chase your approval. The manipulator doesn't argue. He lets others expose themselves. Every time you stay quiet when others expect noise, you turn the psychological table. Power isn't about saying more. It's about making every word carry the weight of thunder. That's why those who speak less often command more when they finally do. In the digital age, power no longer comes from titles. It comes from perception control. And Machiavelli would be a master of it. He'd understand that attention is today's currency, and emotions are the stock market. Whoever moves emotions owns the world. That's why his next rule cuts deeper than ever. Rule 5. Never fight a battle you can win publicly if you can win it secretly. Machiavelli would never waste energy in visible conflict. He knew that open war exposes both your strengths and your weaknesses. In today's world, this means never argue online, never defend your name, never explain your motives. Every explanation weakens your mystery. Every debate drains your aura. He'd say, let them attack what they think you are. While they waste energy shouting, you quietly redirect the system to your advantage. Winners today don't fight. They engineer outcomes. They plant ideas, set traps, and walk away before the explosion. Look at the most powerful corporations and individuals. They don't argue with critics. They simply buy the platform the critics speak on. They own the narrative's infrastructure. And when you own the infrastructure, you don't need to win the argument. You control the echo. Machiavelli would smile at that. He'd whisper, "That's how princes survive revolutions, by becoming the air everyone breathes." Rule 6. Never attack directly when you can corrupt indirectly. Direct confrontation creates enemies. Subtle corruption creates allies who don't even realize they've been bought. This doesn't mean bribery or fraud, not necessarily. It means shaping the desires of others so they align with your own interests. The best manipulation is when others fight for you, believing it's for themselves. That's how politics works, how marketing works, how influence works. People don't act from logic, they act from emotion. So instead of pushing, pull. Instead of commanding, tempt. Machiavelli would say, make your enemy's pride work for you. Give them a way to believe they're in control, while you quietly profit from their confidence. In personal life, this rule appears as flattery, the dangerous art of making someone feel seen while leading them exactly where you want them to go. Flattery is not lying, it's emotional architecture. You build the illusion that makes others comfortable enough to walk straight into your plan. Rule 7. Use morality as theater, not as truth. This is where Machiavelli becomes frighteningly modern. He understood that society judges by appearance, not by essence. So the wise manipulator adopts morality as costume. He speaks of justice, kindness, empathy, equality, all while using these ideals as levers for influence. In our time, image is everything. The influencer who preaches mental health while secretly craving validation. The politician who speaks of unity while dividing. These are the modern princes. It's not that they are evil. They are strategic. They know people follow not what's true, but what feels comforting. And truth by nature is uncomfortable, so they wrap manipulation in moral language. They frame ambition as service. They brand domination as leadership. That's how manipulation survives even in enlightened societies, by speaking the language of virtue while playing the game of power. Remember, the goal is not to be good. It's to look good enough to get things done. Rule 8. Never reveal your full strength until you have no other choice. Machiavelli's genius was patience. He believed that showing too much power too early provokes fear, and fear breeds enemies. So he would say, hide your advantage until the final moment. Let others underestimate you. Let them mock you. Let them feel safe. And when they do, strike with precision. This applies everywhere. In negotiation, in relationships, in social circles. Never show your hand too soon. Hold back your most powerful ideas, your deepest capabilities, your greatest resources. The modern manipulator doesn't shine constantly. He glows occasionally. Enough to be remembered, but never enough to be fully measured. Because mystery is more powerful than domination. Fear fades, but curiosity lasts forever. When they don't know what you're capable of, they can't defend against it. If these insights make you rethink how power works in your world, pause for a second. Hit like and leave a comment saying, I choose awareness over manipulation. Because understanding these rules doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. And the more conscious you are, the harder it is for anyone to play games with your mind. Now let's step even deeper. The next set of rules, from 9 to 13, will show how Machiavelli would dominate modern relationships, loyalty, and emotional control. These are not just tactics for politics. They are survival codes for the psychological battlefield we call society. Rule 9. Never outshine your master, but make him depend on your brilliance. This classic rule still reigns. In any hierarchy, those above you fear replacement more than anything else. So never make your power visible in ways that threaten authority. Instead, make yourself indispensable. If Machiavelli were your mentor, he'd tell you don't compete, integrate. Become so useful that removing you becomes painful. Make your value invisible yet essential, like oxygen. In modern life, this means being the person who knows how things work, not just what they are. The one who has access, data, and emotional intelligence. The one who reads silence as fluently as words. People rarely eliminate those they depend on, even if they secretly dislike them. Rule 10. Build loyalty through secrets, not promises. Promises fade. Secrets bind. In any human relationship, sharing vulnerability creates trust, but owning another's vulnerability creates control. That's why Machiavelli would collect information more carefully than gold. Not to expose people, but to own a part of their story. When someone knows you hold something precious about them, they will protect you to protect themselves. It's psychological leverage, and it's timeless. In the age of data, this rule is multiplied 1,000-fold. Companies know your habits, your fears, your search history. And because they do, they rule you without a crown. That's Machiavellian brilliance reborn in technology. Rule 11. Never let emotions decide. Let them distract others. Machiavelli viewed emotions as tools, not truths. He'd say, feel deeply, but act coldly. Anger, love, pride, even compassion, all useful, none trustworthy. The manipulator studies emotion like a sculptor studies clay. He doesn't deny it, he shapes it. He provokes anger when he needs chaos. He displays empathy when he needs obedience. He fakes vulnerability when he needs forgiveness. Meanwhile, the masses act on impulse, reacting, apologizing, explaining, regretting. The powerful wait. They listen. They strike only when emotions cloud everyone else's judgment. That's not cruelty, it's clarity. Because power requires discipline, not detachment. Rule 12. Keep your enemies close, but your influence closer. Enemies are predictable. Influence is invisible. Machiavelli would say, your rival's hatred can't hurt you as much as your ally's fatigue. In modern society, this means never relying on loyalty, rely on mutual interest. Keep your enemies where you can see them, and feed their vanity just enough to make them feel in control. Meanwhile, influence their environment, their friends, their values, their incentives. You don't destroy enemies by attacking them. You destroy them by rewriting the system they live in. That's how true power works. Not through conflict, but through ecosystem control. Rule 13. Leave when you're most admired. This is the final and most counterintuitive law. When you're at your peak, when everyone praises you, when the spotlight is hottest, disappear. That's how myths are born. Machiavelli would say, don't die a man, die a legend. The manipulator knows that power is temporary, but mystique is eternal. By leaving at your highest point, you deny the world your decline, and they will spend decades wondering what you might have done next. That's immortality, not of the body, but of reputation. And in the end, that's all Machiavelli ever chased, the power to be remembered as the one who understood the game better than anyone else. If you've made it here, it means you're ready to stop living unconsciously. So subscribe to Light of the Spirit. Here, we study what most people fear. the mechanisms of control, the psychology of strategy, the truth behind human behavior. And remember this, Machiavelli didn't create manipulation. He just revealed what people already do, in shadows, in smiles, in silence. Now that you see it, use this awareness not to dominate, but to protect yourself. Because understanding power doesn't make you dangerous. It makes you free.